Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Chasing the Whimsy. I'm your host, Ben. This week's going to be a special episode, guys.
Thank you.
Over the last couple of weeks, I want to focus on finding guests that I can show our audience, Liam and 4-year-old Sophie, of just extraordinary people doing extraordinary things, following their dreams, following their passions. And in the past, we've had a couple. Today, nothing but this passion for what it is that she does. Our guest today is climbing the dance and pop charts all over Europe and has been for years, with hits like Bingo Baby and Hearts Up. She's reaching number 2 on iTunes Ireland, number 3 on the UK pop charts, and number 1 on Amazon Dance and Electric charts. A lasting career that started in 1987 with the song When Boys Cry. She is still touring today and performing with her newest song, Dance You Gotta. Our guest today is Ashley Paul. How are you doing?
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I absolutely appreciate you coming on. I've been doing this podcast for about a year and a half now. I do it with my son regularly, but like I said in the intro, is I want them to follow their passions. So right now, 14, high school wrestling. That's all he wants to do. He eats, sleeps, drinks wrestling. So that's why he's not here with us today.
That's awesome.
But I totally support. We've built this podcast, and he comes on when he can, and we have fun. But I love being able to. I've found a passion in podcasting, but I love being able to sit back and watch him just drive that passion that he has. I have a 4-year-old that is just the best thing like I've ever seen. Like, you look at her and she absolutely knows that everything is possible, like limitless. She's like, whatever she wants to do, she will. And I just hope that she like continues with that, like that toddler mindset of just like, I want to try and do everything and just having fun and being passionate about things. So it's important for me to reach out to guests like you who are living those dreams of touring, making music, whatever it is that you're passionate about. I love the idea that I can show my daughter this episode
Thank you.
a couple of years from now. In all of our listeners is being like, if you want to do it, do it. So let's talk a little bit about your career and what you're currently doing. How did you get into music?
I'm trying to find the charger here. So I started music when I started playing the piano when I was, 5 years old. And like a lot of kids, I love the piano. Once I knew I could sing, which was probably a little bit after that, that was it. I just wanted to sing. I wanted to perform and sing. So that was my passion, I guess, from a very early age. And I mean, I was 6 years old and I was listening to Donna Summer records.
You had also mentioned that when you were 8, what were you doing when you were 8? You were with a.
I had gotten a part in a group, a touring show that went all over the Southeast, and it was a disco touring show, and it was at lots of little theaters. And I was the only young person in the group, and I was doing disco tracks. So I did Donna Summer songs. That was my role. And I was dressed up in disco outfits like Studio 54 when I was like 8. And I just felt the magic, and I felt like, I just felt like that was what I wanted to be. If every little girl has a dream of what they want to be, when I was dressed up in the Donna Summer outfit with the disco hat, I'm like, this is me. You know what I mean?
What is it about?
Little did I know it would really manifest, because I went into any kind of singing from then on. I was an opera trained singer because I have an opera voice by trade, although I didn't go into opera. And I went into musical theater when I moved to New York City with my family when I was about 9 or 10, because that was really more what was available to a 10-year-old at that time, was like off Broadway and cabarets and things like that. At 13, I hit the nail on the head, and I got a Christmas record deal for a Christmas song called Santa Claus, Dear Santa Claus. And that was kind of cool. I did a country radio tour. I was about 12 or 13 in New York. And then I just kept doing, off Broadway and cabarets and auditioning and singing anywhere I could. And then one day I was doing a cabaret, and I was sort of like not discovered, but asked by a producer who was at the cabaret show if I would come into the studio and work on this track. And it was called When Boys Cry. And I was like 16. And yeah, and it kind of like was really fast because we recorded it. It was written by Victoria Shaw and Peggy Stanziali, who wrote Dress You Up for Madonna.
Okay.
Geniuses, right? And
Right.
Joel Diamond was the producer. He produced, gosh, he's a legend too. He produced Gloria Gaynor and Helen Reddy. Brilliant guy. And so I did that, and it went to Billboard. Like it only took like a couple weeks. I don't know what happened. It was kind of, I always say it was a blur to the Billboard charts, because it kind of was. And then somehow I had manifested like this whole, career that I'm in now, which is so meaningful to me. And at the same time, it's not easy. Nothing in life that you're passionate about, that you work diligently at, is ever easy. You know what I'm saying? It isn't. It's an everyday effort. You don't take breaks. At least I don't. So, and I don't apologize for that.
and nor should you. And my son doesn't. But
Right.
it's there are. I mean, obviously, you keep your support group and your family close, but as you're pursuing these things, do they understand this passion that you have and support?
If you want to break it up a little bit, like my growing up life with my parents were extremely supportive of this. They knew that this was what I wanted, and they were very behind it and helped me. My mom was like my personal manager, kind of. She basically devoted her time to making sure that I was, taken to auditions and treated well, and helped me go to lessons. And she was wonderful. And then, my parents were just like that. And then I went off to Europe, and I was still kind of working with my mom as my personal manager. But then, so my family always understood. I think if you want to get to the side, you want to get a little deep, I don't think like romantic relationships really understand.
Right.
And you know what? That's just the way it goes. So maybe one day I'll meet somebody who will understand, but I've been through this. I've been through the circus twice, and I don't think I'm going to try a third time. Because like people, when you try to keep somebody from being who they are, it never works out well,
No.
And for me, I'm a perfectionist, and I want to, also sometimes I get a little into trying to make everybody happy too. And so, I've been guilty of that. I don't know how we're getting into this relationship comment, but you asked me about how other people feel, so I guess I'm saying it. So it is hard. It is really hard. I think, it just takes a very specific kind of person to understand, when you have a passion and a drive that you need to dedicate yourself to,
Okay. Your parents very supportive, helping you. Where do you get your? I read. Did you have to learn music and instruments?
Did I? No, I played by ear. Like I just sort of came out. Like I had like I'm sure there's a lot of people like this. I'm not very unusual, but so when I started the piano when I was about 6, I had piano lessons, and it didn't go well because I was always playing by ear, and I would like hear a song in my head, and then I would want to figure it out on the piano without the sheet music. And I still write like that. Like if I hear a melody or a hook for a song that I'm writing on my own, I just think of it and then I put it on the sheet music. I'll write it out. So I kind of learned the piano myself. And then once I got into vocalizing, my first instrument really became my voice. But I can still play the piano lovely. It's just I really love the audience when I'm performing.
Very nice. I love that the conventional way is you sit, you read the sheet music, and you do what hundreds of thousands of other people have done. But I love the idea that at such a young age, you're like, that's not me. That's not me. And and you never conformed to the traditional way of learning. You kind of just, like you said, you work through it, and you want to figure it out yourself, and then just kind of just like teach yourself in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely a nonconformist in that way. I'm very strict with my instrument though. So like I'm a perfectionist, I watch my diet, very strict. I always talk about this, but I'm like an athlete because my voice is my instrument and can't get another voice, so it's not like a guitar or a piano. And so I think it's really important for singers, if anyone's, listening and you're starting out and you really, really want to go the distance and you care about your voice, you will take care of your voice. So, which means we don't drink, we don't smoke. We try to eat foods that are like soft so we don't get like problems in the back of our throat. There's a lot of issues. Sleep well, exercise, all the regular things, no partying. No alcohol. I mean, it's like to me, it's not boring because I love what I'm doing and I'm filled with joy, about my life in that regard, but for some people, I guess it could be not worth it. So,
and it's anything else. There's a discipline that you have to have, and the fact that you're able to stick to those disciplines, and it might not be for everybody how strict you are with yours, but you have to have something that says this is important to me, and then to have some kind of value system that says I'm not going to go to these far extremes and try to, like you said, take care of your instrument. My son wrestling, like he understands about keeping weight and weights and exercise.
Right.
So.
Right. And it's really true. I mean, I've just been, the truth is I was trained this way as well. Like from when I was a little girl, this is what I wanted. And so this is what comes with it. It wasn't like my parents pushed me and said, you need to do this, so you need to be this way. I wanted to do it. And they just helped me, what I'm saying? Stay on the path. And, like anybody, I went through a period of time where I once said, well, maybe it would be cool to just be normal. Like, and what is normal though, right? And not do this, but that lasts like 10 minutes one time, you know what I mean? if that. So
when you realized that you wanted to be a singer, an artist, did you know that you wanted to did you want it as big as it is now, or you just knew that you always just wanted to be singing?
Well, it's two things. I just knew that I always wanted to be singing, and I was doing the musical theater thing for a while, but when I was offered the opportunity to do the musical artist thing, that to me was the supreme souffle, so to speak, because I could be myself. I didn't have to be a character in a play, which I can do, but I have so many thoughts and creations and ideas that I want to express with my music that I really love doing it this way, being the artist and building my brand as Ashley Paul Music. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, there's so much behind it, and being able to keep going with it is such a privilege, and really I have so much gratitude for that. But to answer your question, I don't really think about like that it would get so big or so small. I just want to have the opportunities to keep going. That's how I look at it.
Mhm.
Like, as long as you tell me next week I have Monday and Wednesday, and next month I have this person I'm writing with, and in April I have a new tour. Like, as long as I keep working, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
as I continue to do this podcast, trying to show the kids that if you want to do something, do it. And that's and the idea that a year and a half ago, when I first started this thing, if you would have asked me if I was going to speak with Billboard, number ones and Grammy winners and district attorneys turned like actor, I would have been like, I never would have thought about. I never would have thought about it, and I limited myself a year and a half ago, being like, no, those are beyond me. But as I kind of very quickly though, as I continued podcasting, I realized I enjoy this, and that if I want them to put themselves out there and try different and scary things, I'm like, maybe I'll do the same thing. I want to start reaching out to like people and have conversations with people that I would never have thought I would want to. And here we are. I'm talking to someone who's living her dream, topping charts all over Europe, going on tours, and it's awesome to be like, it wasn't that hard, to make these things happen. You just have to go. You just have to keep doing and trying.
Have to keep going, and I think that's the hard part. Is having the faith when you don't know what's happening in February, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know that if you go from today till tomorrow and tomorrow till the next day, something's going to manifest. But you have to just keep going. Like, you can't just say, okay, February will come and we'll see what happens, and then for now I'm just going to go to the Greek islands. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
Like, you have to put in the work every day. In some way, even if you just do a post one day. Like that's how I'm very strong feeling about that. Like, there's something that has to be done every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Yesterday, here's an example. Am I talking too much?
No, please.
So yesterday, I had spoken with a radio on Friday, and I didn't have anything on Saturday. And then, which of course always bothers me if I don't have something. So I was like, but then it was so crazy. Somebody had seen me on the radio show, and they wanted to talk to me about music projects. So I was like, oh my God. And I was like, okay. And I called them, and we had this great conversation, and, about, he's a producer, about some of the music he writes. And then I was like, I felt so good for that hour, because I was like in my zone. And I felt like I had achieved something for yesterday. Mm-hmm. Does that sound crazy to you?
Not at all. I work 2 jobs already, and I podcast at an alarming rate. Wow. I do about 4 shows a week, and 2 of them are live. And when I do have some downtime, it's putting together the presentation for the Saturday and the Monday live stream. Like, even and what's the beauty of it is it's downtime, mm-hmm. and I'm working, but I don't feel like it's work, because it's something that I enjoy doing.
It lights you up, right? It lights you up.
It does.
That was a song that I wrote in 2022 called "Love Light Me Up."
Mm-hmm.
Illuminate me. Illuminate me. Love, light me up. Illuminate me. I mean, that was like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you, but it was about how what you do, whatever it is, it lights you up. And we all need to light ourselves up at least once a day.
I agree. It's crazy because the amount of podcasting that I think about throughout a day is like 23 hours.
Right.
But I always try to I reel it in because I understand that others aren't as passionate about it, so I respect them enough to not bore them with what I'm doing. But I'm always constantly thinking of what's, for example, you're going to be episode 91. I'm already thinking about what does episode 100 look like. What does July look like for our year 2 anniversary?
Of course, I'm already thinking like, what day am I going to go to the UK for my tour this year? Okay, so I'm thinking in my mind, I'm going in May. Okay, so what am I doing March, January, February, and March and April? And I'm like, okay, I have a very juicy co-write coming up in February that I'm announcing New Year's Eve, just so you know.
Very nice.
Really juicy. I wish I could tell you, but I can't tell. I can't. I'm not allowed to say anything yet. So
then I'll get a hold of you and I'll have you back on the 2nd.
Oh, thank you. I would love it. I would love it. So I'm thinking, okay, so I have that for February. Then I'm like, oh my God, what's January look like? Okay, so, well, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. But I think that's how really, really high energy, creative people are. And I think that you have to keep pushing even when you don't want to, not you, but I think, you just, and then most of the days you want to push forward, but then there's always the days where you're like, I mean, I'm not like a robot. I'm not like manifesting every single day of my life. I have a lot of down days where I'm sad and I miss my mom or I miss my son or, I start to think, well, am I really strange because my music comes before any other relationship I'll ever have? You know what I mean? Like there's all these things that that go into your mind, but then the next day you wake up and you're like, yes, and you start fresh, you know, and you find something that inspires you. And there's always something in your craft or in the world that inspires you, whether it's somebody who's struggling more than you and they're finding a way to make it work. That's always inspiring to me. Mm-hmm. Watching people make their dreams happen inspires me.
That's what I love about the podcast is, and the reason for guests like you is, my kids aren't going to listen to me when I tell them that they can do anything. No one listens to their parents when they say this stuff like that. But if I can show examples of other people pushing and fighting to pursue those passions that they have.
Oh my God, that reminds me of a story. Can I tell you really quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so this made my whole day. So I didn't know if my son saw or got what I'm doing and how I do it, spiritually, emotionally. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know he knows that I'm a singer-songwriter, but I went into his room recently when I was in Miami, and I saw he had a board next to his desk, and it had 6 different universities on the board cut out in pictures. And all of the 6 were the ones that he's going to apply to for college.
Like a little vision board?
And I said to him, baby, what is that? And I didn't want to push too much. Then he'll tell me you know what I mean? I said, what is it? He goes, well, Mom, I'm taking a page from your book and I'm going to manifest where I want to go to college. And I was like, oh my God, I've done my job. You know what I mean?
How old is he?
He's 16. I was so happy. I was so happy. And he's not like a creative, although he is very creative. but he's very into world affairs, and he knows information about everything, and he does debate in school, that thing.
Right.
But anyway, the point is that I felt so excited that he saw that, so I get what you're saying about your kids, that you want them to see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I absolutely love. I just turned 40, and all of this comes out of turning 40 and just looking backwards and being like, there's so much that I don't know about my family. There's opportunities that we've missed in the past, and this was kind of my way of capturing those things, so that way I can give them to my kids, their kids, and I can share with the rest of the family this journey of where Ben is 2023, 24 and onward. And I love this idea that so much so that I'm at this point now where I'm like, I'm not just a podcast at this point. Like I'm looking at like studio level goals of like, I'm going to help other people do podcasts too. If they want to tell a story or they want to talk about whatever video game it is that they love playing and they can speak passionately about it, do it. And if you don't know how to, I'll teach you and I'll show you how. And I absolutely love this whole idea of being like, this is real. To be fair, this is really kind of the easiest thing in the world to do. And it can be a little discouraging at points. And it's like, don't get discouraged. Just talk and have a good time. And we're slowly building a audience and inspiring others. So I love being able to start showing people like, what are you passionate about? And then just supporting them with that. Like, I don't know anything about wrestling, but I'm going to support it. And if you want to do a podcast about talking about it, then I'll help you do that. Because whatever you're passionate about, other people need to hear what you're passionate about.
I agree. Absolutely. That's how we are in my mom's side of the family. We're always, whether you have a craft or a talent or a dream, whatever it is, you do it because it's a privilege to have that the way you were created. And, when you have that, you're supposed to do something with it. At least try,
Yeah. And that's all I really want from anybody is to try. As long as you try, you can you can feel fulfilled and proud of yourself knowing that you at least tried. And similar to some of the things that you're saying is if this one thing fails, you never know what other doors will open up.
Right. You just keep going. I mean, as a creative writer, singer, songwriter, there's a lot of different avenues, and I work them all because I write, I write the music. I come up with these kind of, not intentionally, I come up with these silly idioms sometimes that create the songs. And, we could use them on stage. I mean, they could be used in a film. They could be used in a TV commercial. I mean, there's so many ways to manifest what you do. And you don't always know what's in store, but you're following your path. Sometimes it's not what you expect, but you keep going. Like, I have to tell you the truth. I never in my dreams thought that I was going to be able to be a dance diva.
Very nice.
I thought I was going to be a theater person because that's what I was doing. This just kind of opened up to me. So.
And it's great that you're able to see those openings, and then life will only give you so many opportunities, and the fact that you're able to see most of them and then and take them is fantastic. I love the idea of building this community within my little world. Right now, I'm not looking for the big and the. I'm completely content with helping inspiring the next Ashley Paul or Olympic wrestler of some kind. I'm totally fine with that. That, like, if I feel I would be 100% fine with it. So I build this community
Yeah.
to try and help others. Do you have a small community do you collaborate with others?
I mean, I collaborate every day. I have a producer in the UK that I collaborate with, Love Foundation. I have, let's see, I have co-writers that I speak to once or twice a week, many different writers. If I have an idea, like I call one or I call another and we get on a Zoom and we start writing a new track. I mean, every week can be an idea when you get inspired in songwriting. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I had an idea. I was in the car on the way to the airport on Thanksgiving with my cousins, and we were talking about agenda, and he said something like Foxy Agenda, and then I said something in Spanish, and I don't really even speak Spanish, so I don't even know where it came from. That rhymed with Foxy Agenda, and so then we started writing a song. So then I called somebody else and said, let's finish this with a really cool freestyle beat, and it just kind of went from there. And so now that's a song. I don't know when I'm going to put that one out, but it's another song. So it's just about keeping the creation going, and it kind of just happens on its own.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always collaborating in that regard. And I think that's the beauty of feeling like you're free,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in your zone, and you're in your passion, and nobody has the right to not allow you to be who you are.
Right.
As long as you respect other people and you follow the law, we should all be able to be true to ourselves.
And they just help elevate you to better and to greatness. And then you do the same thing, vice versa. I love collaborating with others because I'm having a blast. So if I can get them to come on and we all just have some fun, and if we can find some gold in whatever interaction that we're doing, amazing.
I think the problem is people who, not to judge, but some people who go into it just for the fame.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't realize that you have to have so much substance.
Oh yeah.
Get even up the ladder a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, you have longevity. You've been doing this since '87. Right, and slightly before with when you were a kid, but that first album, '87 to now, like you don't see a lot of musicians, especially in dance music, that go 40 years.
Right. I mean, it's hard to believe, but it's like really it's the one part of me that I always feel totally comfortable with is my music. Like I don't feel nervous. It feels natural. I don't think that it's impossible. I just feel so aligned with it, with that part of myself. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I'm okay living by myself.
Was there ever a moment in your amazing career in which you were discouraged, in that even for half a second you were like, maybe I should maybe I need to stop, or maybe I need to find a different route? Have you ever had a moment
Well,
that just came down a little hard on you?
I had two aha moments. One aha was after Boys Cry. When Boys Cry, then I had I had 3 or 4 more singles that were out on the club charts in Europe and that did well in the States, called Leaving and Out of My Life, Color Me Yours, Don't Take Back Your Love. And there's another one, which I can't believe I can't remember the name of this track. Okay. So, This Kind of Love. And so after that, I kind of was a little lost because I wasn't sure, what was next. And that was actually when I became very determined to become a songwriter. Mm-hmm. I told myself, you know what? I have a poetry book. I write little melodies in my head. I'm going to write my own songs and put them out. I'm not going to wait for the next producer to find me. I'm going to keep moving forward in a new direction. And that was when I started writing. And first I did a little bit of sad songs, country. It took me a couple of years to get to dance music writing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I was kind of working towards it. So it was a process. So I hadn't given up there. The only time I ever was sort of very, I don't know, deflated, I guess you would say, would be it was like 1 or 2 years when I was with my ex husband, let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
and he just didn't get it. Like he didn't get it. And I was trying to explain it to him, and I kind of always knew he didn't really get it. And I guess that should have been a red flag before I married him. But I think I had this manifestation of this beautiful child that I have now. So, it was worth it. Because my son is the love of my life. So I will say that I think because of his energy, I started to question who I was as a creative, and thought, oh, well, maybe I need to, like, I don't know, go be an accountant or sell real estate or something. And I went to real estate school and in New York, and it was kind of silly. I actually enjoyed the course, and I had a lot of fun talking to the teacher because he was very animated. But once it became a reality and I was in an office, I was like, oh my God, this is not for me. Forget it. And I was like, yeah, no, this isn't happening. And that was it. So, but that lasted about, that was like a 6-month thing. And I wasn't necessarily going to give up music. I was just sort of thinking, well, maybe there is another path where I could do well in something,
Right.
because I feel like it's not my style to do something and do it halfway.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm going to do something. I'm going to try to do it well. So I thought maybe this is my destiny. I'm supposed to now go into real estate sales. I was like, but I'm not a very good salesman, except I can sell my music pretty well. But like if I'm selling a chair that I'm trying to give away, I've been known to say, like, okay, forget it. You don't have to pay anything. Just take the chair. I'm really bad. So anyway, I think I'm being so silly right now, but you're so easy to talk to, so it's great.
Yeah. Are there any? Do you have a few tips or some advice that you can give the younger audience or a younger person listening to help stay on track or to help overcome the obstacles that they might face moving forward?
I mean, there's so many. I mean, I would just say, always know in your heart that if this is what you want, don't give up. Even on the down days, listen to a musician from the past and, study them as a project, find something in it for yourself, for your heart. Try not to listen to the noise, because there are people out there who are not in touch with their talent. I'm someone who believes everyone has a talent. And I think it's just some of us are in touch with it and some of us are not, And so if you're really very self-aware and evolved enough to know that there's something you're passionate about, don't let somebody else take you down, is what I'm saying.
Right,
because
very nice.
A lot of people will try because they're uncomfortable that they can't find theirs. And they've got one too, because we all have God-given talents. That's just reality, We're all special and unique in our own way. And that leads me to my next antidote for this. Always be you. Don't try to replicate somebody else, because what you have is unique. You're the only person who can play you. Nobody can ever really play you like you. And somebody out there is going to recognize that talent that you have, that uniqueness, and keep moving forward with it.
Never give up. Stay true to yourself.
Basically, yeah. I was trying to make it more colorful, but that's
No. I just like, obviously yours is a better answer.
yeah,
But,
no, like I mean, like people when you asked me that, I was trying not
yeah,
to say the same thing and make it boring.
no,
But
but
and
but it's
you're a very good interviewer, and so you got me very talkative right now. So, well, I'm kind of always talkative, but you're an
no.
amazing.
Um,
But the thing is, I really do believe, when someone says to me, "Well, do this, Ashley, but give yourself till the end of the year," I'm like, "Excuse me, I'm sorry. Do I know you? Because right now I don't know you. I don't want to know you. If anybody would tell me that, I would just close my ears." You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't listen to, I mean, there's always ebbs and flows. Sometimes it gets quieter. We need to take an extra job, but we don't give up. You know what I mean? There is no showdown within ourselves. We don't have a showdown.
mhm.
We just keep going to the left. We go to the right. We go up. We go down until we get to where we want to be. Ultimately, it's
Yeah.
not a straight line in any way, shape, or form. You know, but when you're having the to the left, to the right, don't give up. You know,
Well,
get
and
back.
I think that's where you find the reward in your gift and the hard work. If it was a straight line, and you're like, I don't want, like it, like there's a reason why everybody doesn't do it. Is if it was easy, nobody would want to do it. It's the
Yeah.
value.
Why would unless you were really passionate? Why would anybody want to be in the music business? I mean, it's just like if it wasn't really. I mean, no pay. You get rejected all the time. There's lots of. I use the word scoundrels, but it's true. There's plenty of scoundrels. People manipulate. I mean, there's so many issues, and people kind of do whatever they wanted. Sometimes it's like the Wild West.
Oh yeah, and then you got the audience. If they don't like you, sometimes
Right.
they're a little too aggressive, telling you why they don't like you, and you're like, I never even asked you. Don't listen then.
Right.
Yeah, it can be hard and rough, but I like where you're at, where you just focus on the positives and the moves forwards. And if all the negativity is on the left, and like you said, move right, find get away from it.
Right. You have
Everything
to
kind of starts to work itself out.
just have to keep swerving. That's the key.
Hmm.
And you don't know when it's your time either. You know, there's like all these stories about people who made it in their 40s, 50s, even 60s. I mean, it sounds, pardon me, it sounds crazy, but if you have a dream, you don't give up. You just don't.
I decided to do this at 40, and the idea that uh, this could blow up to something more than just me hanging out my living room absolutely fascinates me. And although it's not the main focus,
Right.
but if those opportunities come up where they're like, we want to, like somebody wants to invest and put a little bit of money into this, and or help me evolve this into something else, absolutely, I would seize all those opportunities. Uh, Even at 40, 41, like I love the idea that I still have a chance to achieve my greatness.
Right. Of course. I mean,
Mm.
as long as we're breathing, it's never too late. And when people say, and I think more people realize that these days, And if someone tells me, "Oh, aren't you tired of that already?" I'm like, "I'm sorry. Do I know you?" Like I stop speaking to them.
When do you have you thought about what the end looks like? Do you sing all the way to the very end, or do you have like an idea of when retirement would be appropriate?
Retirement. I haven't
Ah.
yet. I have like crazy collaborations, and I mean, I have all kinds of things. I have better tours and bigger tours and more collaborate. I have a zillion songs left to write, release, record. I mean,
Good for you.
they're gonna. I'm gonna be 95 and on tour, and they're gonna take me to the grave.
Good for you. That's almost inspiring in itself. That I love that I love listening to people that are so passionate about it that they're like, I want to do this to the point where you have to drag me off, and then I'm still coming back.
Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just got going again in 2021. I have like at least another 30 years of songs in me.
Very nice. Um, what do you feel when you're on tour and you're playing these different venues, and the volume's all the way up? You got your beats. Right before you start singing, you hear the crowd everybody screaming at you. What are some of the things that you feel like in that moment when you're on tour and you're performing? What is it like to perform in these type of venues and this and going on tour?
I mean, it's really electric. You know, it's magical. You get. I mean, this summer I played in venues that were like 30,000 people in the audience in different parts of the UK, and it's like you walk on stage and it's electric. That's all I can say. Like the crowd, they get going with your track, and it's really just incredible. Really, it's hard to describe. I mean, you go out there and you see the audience is like one person. You don't see 30,000 faces. You see one heart, and everybody's enjoying the music, and it's just, you just get lost in it. Like any worry in the dressing room of how it was going to go goes away the minute you hit that stage, because that audience is so special. So it's incredible.
I have I commented a couple of weeks ago. I would love more. Nothing more would I love than to walk out onto a stage and have like tens of thousands of people just screaming for me. It just seems like it would be to feel all of that from 30 different people or 30,000 different people. I couldn't even imagine. And then the fact that you do it on a daily, nightly basis has to be just intoxicating. Do you have any more tour dates coming up this year, or a new tour going next year?
Right now, I have a new tour in the UK that I think starts in June or the end of May, where I'll be going back and hopefully going to Ireland this time.
Okay.
And I'm right now in talks with another agency about bookings in the US and Canada. But I don't have the information specifics yet to announce. So hopefully I'll be announcing for like January, February, March, other dates that'll be closer to home.
Well, I would if you do a U.S. tour and you're ever in Arizona, I would love to come out and experience an Ashley Paul event.
Thank you so much. That would be incredible. That would be
before I let you go, I absolutely super happy and thankful that you took the time to speak with me today. You were so easy to talk to. You were fun. I will definitely have you back on.
Thank you so much.
You said after first of the year, we got some announcements. So, we'll I'll get a hold of Kelly and find out what's going on and be like, let's have her back on for a couple of minutes. I want to talk about this amazing announcement that you had going on. But where can my audience find you? Social media?
You can go to official Ashley Paul on Instagram, or my website is ashpaulmusic.com.
Okay, very nice.
I do have a Facebook page. It's Ashley Paul Musician page, but you can get all that from my website, ashpaulmusic.com.
Okay. Again, it has been a huge pleasure to speak with you. If nothing else, you've inspired me. So I love it's stories like yours that give me that little extra confidence boost to say that I'm doing something weird and silly, but if I'm passionate about it, that this could and still be something.
It is.
I love the idea that rarely do I get discouraged, but there are those moments where I'm like, am I really doing this? And you kind of just help reinforce that, yes, this is what I'm doing is a valid and an appropriate response and something that I need to stand behind. So if any other person gets half of what I got from you today, you're gonna be responsible for a lot of great things coming out in the future from any of these kids that are listening.
That's so wonderful. That makes me so happy.
I appreciate you so much. You have a good rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing what else you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me so much.
Of course. You have a great day. Thank you. Whimsy.